everyone, my name is Jess, and honestly, why would you go outside when you could spend a day indoors and watch Big Brother? That's right, y'all. We are here to discuss episode 2 of BB27. And if you've been watching the feeds since they turned on yesterday, or technically last night, however you want to consider it, time zones, whatever, you know there's been a lot happening. So it is crazy to think it's only been 2 episodes. I feel like it's been a lot more, based on how these house guests are just running. They are fine in this game. But it's only been 2 episodes, so we are here to discuss Sunday night's episode. I'm calling it kind of part 2 for the premiere slash our nominations episode. Because, if in my opinion, there are definitely some things they could have fit into Thursday if they tried. They definitely could have made that like a 2-hour premiere and taken the whole accomplice situation, go doot, and then boop, right there onto Thursday. But I don't work at CBS, so not my call. But yeah, we have something to talk about. We did get a lot, even though some of it was like, we got a lot to talk about. So let us get into it, because we kind of pick up right where we left off on Thursday night with this mystery accomplice haunting the house. Ooh. So now everybody is like looking at each other like, wait a minute, accomplice? What's going on? So they didn't really explain it to us on Thursday about how this whole vote to figure out who the accomplice was going to go. But from watching it, I guess they pretty much just had to vote that night. I wasn't sure if it was going to be, a few days, if they were going to have like time to discuss. They had some time to discuss. I guess they could kind of go and vote whenever. They probably give them like an hour or two, I'm going to guess. And within that time, they were able to go vote whenever in the dining room. And once everybody had voted, minus the accomplice, then they would announce the votes. So we got a lot of discussions. They didn't really have much to go on, as I suspected, because nobody was looking out for anything weird. They didn't expect it to be a secret accomplice. So they were kind of just going off of everybody's behavior. And the two that the house was most suspicious of was Isaiah and Riley. They were just kind of acting a little weird. Their expressions were off. Riley pointed out that Isaiah's face was really red when the mastermind was on talking about the accomplice. So it was kind of them two looking at each other. The house was definitely leaning more towards Riley. They just thought he was acting a little, wow, I'm the cowboy. Which, I guess, that was just probably who he is. I don't know. But one genius named Lauren was talking to, I believe, it might have been Ashley. And she was saying, I've been thinking, and I think that the accomplice would have to be a woman. Because if there was a possibility that the accomplice would leave the house if we voted them out, and Rachel would be, kind of filling that spot. Rachel makes the 9th woman. The rest 8 men. If the accomplice was a man and they left, 9 women, 7 men. Not balanced. So she's thinking woman. And Ashley's like, yeah, that's a good idea. However, I don't think Lauren really goes around spreading that. I think she's kind of just like, let's just ride with what the house thinks. So they all, one by one, kind of go into the dining room. They don't show us all of the votes. They show us a few of the votes. Obviously, they don't show us all because the accomplice does not vote, as we realize once the mastermind comes on the screen after everybody has voted. It says, we have all 16 votes because my accomplice here did not vote. And mastermind reads out our votes. We have 5 votes on Isaiah, who looks kind of like, what the hell? And then 11 votes on Riley. And Riley, if you can believe it, not the most happy about that. Riley's like, oh, not me, thanks. So they're all looking at him. And the mastermind's like, y'all are stupid. Not Riley. Losers. You suck. So Riley's like, what'd I say? Did I not say it was not the accomplice? So they're all kind of like, damn. So now we have 17 house guests for the whole summer. for now, for this week. And then we go back down to 16 once this, Thursday happens, but that's how the show works. Now, I don't think, well, obviously none of them were looking at her, but we get the reveal of our accomplice. We already knew who this was because people on the internet are fucking detectives and can clock everything by just rewinding an episode. And would you look at that? Amy is our accomplice, which makes the most sense demographic-wise, because if Amy were to leave, Rachel kind of fills that spot. 40-something-year-old mom, woman. I don't know what they actually do have in common. They just kind of fit like fancy woman, fancy mom. But yeah, Amy. I remember people had in the episode seen just this little flash of her arm moving, and then you can see on her jean pocket. I'm looking like you can see my pants. Just a little thing in her pockets of her jean skirt. You were like, I think she clicked the button to turn off the lights. But they rewind first and show us everything. She is part of the first move-in group. Everybody's looking around. And remember, during episode 1, Kelly was like, Amy's kind of annoying. Amy's like, what? Oh my god. Hello? Sorry about that interruption, y'all. My sister has been watching Game of Thrones and really had to tell me, for the first time, I do, 10 years late, and had to tell me all about the finale of season 6 she just watched. Pardon me. So, back to where I believe I was discussing the move-in with Amy and Kelly, where Kelly was like, Amy, incredibly annoying. Why is she so loud? Mastermind, Amy, is distracting them all with her overexcited mom energy, like, wow, look at that couch, wow, look at this. Meanwhile, they don't notice she's pushing the timer under the stairs to start the countdown for the lights to go off. She's the one that clicks the little button to get rid of the HOH relic when the lights are out, and don't even know when the hell she managed to do this when they're upstairs looking at the gym, pulls the lever to let Rachel in. Honestly, pretty impressive. Nobody detected her at all, which I'm pretty surprised seeing as she had that clicker in her pocket. Nobody was like, what the hell is she have in her pocket? Good for her. I'm glad she gets to stay. I do like Amy. Yeah, Amy is our accomplice, completely undetected. So now that they're just moving on from the accomplice, they're like, oh, well, wasn't Riley. Okay. Anyways. Which is why I think it should have been on Thursday's episode. Because there's nothing else. This is kind of, they're like, that's kind of like the last time they're worried about the accomplice. They also don't mention if it's going to be continued past this premiere first day, like, section. Are we going to have Amy doing the accomplice stuff within the next few weeks, up until, like, a certain point, maybe, like, up until jury? No clue. They don't say anything to us. So, I don't know. But, anyways, they move on, they gather up around the couch, they introduce themselves, as they usually do every year, like, hi, I'm Morgan, I'm a model, no. Not a lot from that, just getting to know them. I do think it's funny, both Kelly and Isaiah were like, I don't know, I'm gonna kind of keep something to myself. Still say everything. Still say everything they were gonna say. Like, Kelly didn't want to tell anybody that she's a traveler. Immediately tells that 42 countries, all 50 states, half of the Mexican states. I'm like, okay. It wasn't a good secret to keep anyway, so who cares if you told them? And Isaiah just tells everybody he's a salesman. I don't know why he thought that was a secret. That doesn't really affect anything. The only thing, everything that mattered was, like, Survivor on 45 when they were like, we gotta get Caleb out. Salesman. But anyways, this is Big Brother. So I don't think anybody gives a shit. People that keep secrets, obviously Will hasn't told anybody that he's, a former veteran. Morgan's keeping her gaming thing a secret. I don't think Lauren's trying to hide that she's a super fan anymore, seeing as she about hit the roof for Rachel Riley, so not much secret keeping going on. The only thing I will say, going back to Lauren, Zach, still eyeing Lauren. Still looking at Lauren. He's like, oh, Lauren. Hello, Lauren. Lauren, I don't think gives a shit. I don't know if Lauren likes him. She hasn't said anything in the episodes. I don't even think she's really said much on the feeds, but that's the feeds, not episode 2. Thank you. So yeah, not much with the intros. They're just getting to know each other, getting to know their names, who they are, things like that. They're mingling, they're talking. Here comes Vince out of the dining room. And you're like, oh, HOH room? No. He's got a little card. He's like, guys, we have a little message from the Hotel Mystère Management. He opens it up. He's like, oh, it's a note. Rachel. Hey, Rachel. So sorry that, you showed up late. We don't have any rooms for you. No space. So, what do? We have to make it happen up. So sorry. And Rachel's like, great. But, because, she's getting a shittier accommodation, it's like, we're gonna comp your stay. You're safe this week. As are all the other 3 have-nots that will be chosen. Now, Jimmy, in his diary room, is like, wow, of course. Of course she's safe. Real shocker. Which, yes, they've done that. They've done that before with with some other seasons, most notably BB19 when Paul returns night 1. But I think this is a much better version of it. The way it went down on BB19 was bad. It was pretty bad. It was not great. It definitely helped set up, the cult of Paul that season. For those who don't know, on Big Brother 19, similar situation, 16 house guests. As like a punishment, Paul is kind of unleashed onto the house as is the 17th house guest. But he has 8 friendship bracelets. So he gets to decide who gets a friendship bracelet, and that person is safe I don't believe it was for the week. I think it was for that night because they were going to do a special night 1 elimination. 8 people were safe, the other 8 were at risk. So he had to have everybody pitch to him, making deals, to them saying, oh, I want to work with you, I'll make you this deal, da 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 da. So that really set Paul up well in the game. A lot of people, their fates were in their hands. Literally with the French bracelets, literally in their hands. So they had to kind of kiss ass. And there was a lot of time for discussions and to pitch themselves to Paul. This was, I believe, a significant step up. Rachel, she didn't have to pitch anybody, tell me why I should make you a safe have-not. Vince read the card, he's like, alright, Rachel, get up here and pick somebody. Rachel was like, oh, okay. And so she gets up there, she picks Will. And instead of, Rachel picking the other 2 house guests to be have-nots, Will gets to pick. And then Will's pick will then pick the last person. Which I think, yes, definitely an improvement. Not as much of, I guess I would say, a burden on Rachel. She doesn't have to, well, it's not as much an advantage, I guess is probably the better word for it. She's not going to have to, converse with everybody, saying, making deals, things like that. So I think this is definitely an improvement. I'm glad they learned their lesson from the last time, because a lot of people were concerned about that it was going to be a whole little cult situation again. And as much as I love Rachel Riley, I don't know if I would love that, because it made the season kind of rough. If you know, it was a pretty rough season. But again, Rachel picks Will to be a have-not. Will then picks Zach to join them in the have-not room as well. And then it's Zach's turn to make the final pick. And of course, he is looking at Lauren, and Lauren is looking at him like, pick me. And he's having a whole dialogue, whole debate in his head. He's like, man, do I pick Lauren? Lauren, I really like Lauren. I could get to know Lauren much better being in the have-not room with her. It'd be really great. But then he looks over. And who's looking at him? Ava. He's like, Ava. Ava's looking at me like a sad little puppy. Just... And Zach's like, fuck, what do I do? But he feels bad, so he picks Ava. He's like, you know what, Ava. So we have our 4 have-nots. We have Rachel, Zach, Will, and Ava. The have-not room this year is downstairs, which is, I think, a lot better than being upstairs, personally. Because typically the people upstairs, especially that first week, you're really cut off from everybody else. You're all the way upstairs, everybody else is downstairs mingling. So you're like, shit, I don't get to talk to anybody. But now, this time, they're a lot closer. They can converse a lot better with the other house guests, rather than being completely cut off from the world. So they go see their have-not room, which is literally a fucking crime scene. I actually really, really love this this have-not room. I think it really works with their whole murder mystery theme. Well, it puts the murder in the mystery. Because the rest of the house is not really given that, it's even, like a fancy hotel. It's not really giving, like, a crime's been committed here. You open the have-not door, you're like, oh, here's the crime. Here's their beds. Crime scene, white chalk outlines. On the tables, mind you. Some of them are on tables and desks. Can you imagine trying to sleep on that and you roll off? You're just trying to sleep in the middle of the night, and the next thing you know, you just fall off a table and you're on the fucking ground. You're like, oh my god. Bad enough you had to sleep like this. And there's like crime scene bags, like evidence bags with like a noose. There's a noose. The wall is like, when you get a mugshot, it has like the height measurements of how tall you are. I'm like, honestly, it's pretty good. It's really good room, and I really like it. Really fits the theme, I would say. So yeah, they're like, great. At least we're safe. We have this weird ass have-not room, but we're safe. So they're back to mingling. We're looking in the diary room. Here comes Zach in the diary room. There's a little card waiting for him. And I'm like, oh boy. What's this? So Zach, on episode 1, when Julie is kidnapped and they have to go rescue her and the HOH relic, they say you're gonna get a game-changing power. Zach just got 10 grand, and Jimmy was able to pick the contestants for the first HOH competition. So we were like, oh, okay. Here's part 2 of Zach's fucking 10 grand. It's not just 10 grand. It's a buy your safety. So that means anytime from now until jury, which with 17 people, I have no idea how they're going to do jury. Jury could be, I don't know if they're doing 7, 9. So that could be pretty far down the line if it's going to be 7 people, because now you have to get rid of a lot more people to get there. So he has his 10 grand. If at any point between now and jury, he's on the block after the veto ceremony, after the veto meeting, he can just be like, actually, hey, I don't want to be on the block anymore. HOH, here's my 10 grand. I am now safe off the block. You have 10 grand, and you have to pick another replacement nominee. Bye! Crazy. It's pretty much like Mackenzie's America's Veto power from last year, minus the vote. It's just a better version of that. Honestly, pretty good. It's pretty good. And it's like you're also not, I mean, you're kind of pissing off the HOH maybe, depending on who it is, because you're messing up their nominations, but you are giving them your $10,000. So they can't really bitch and moan and be like, oh, my nominations, oh, I was going to get you out. You just gave them $10,000. That maybe could bring them a little better onto your side, like, oh, okay. You never know. Depends. It might work on some of these people. Some of these people, probably not. Probably not. They might be like, what the hell? But, again, if Zach doesn't use it, and he makes it through jury, fine. He still gets to keep his 10 grand. So not a bad deal. So he gets to be safe or get fucking 10 grand, which I think is honestly a pretty good power. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. I was worried he was going to tell somebody about this, because people love to tell their powers on Big Brother. I beg every year, I'm like, please don't tell people your power. Please don't. And based on the episode and what I've seen of the feeds, he hasn't mentioned the power at all to anybody. And if he did tell somebody before the feeds, they have not repeated it. Not, at least not on the feeds that we've seen. So, props to him for keeping it a secret. A lot of people do not. If you remember from, at least from last season, Mackenzie, I think everybody knew her power by like the end of week 1 or week 2. Quinn told a couple people. It got around. So, good for him to keep the power secret. I think it's actually a pretty good power. And it'll be a good surprise at the end of a veto meeting when they think, like, we got Zach. Even though, there's the BB blockbuster, he could have still won as well. For him to get up and be like, actually, it's not over. Actually, here's 10 grand and I'm safe. I think that could be fun. Not bad, not at all for him. So, hey. I do like it's a different power than we've seen before. You don't get many. I think they have. It's been a while since they did like a bribe power. I remember the gold bar power from. Oh my goodness. You think I remember which season? I don't. They remember they were bribing people with the gold bars. Like, oh, keep me safe. They don't get too many bribery ones. Minus, like the veto competition where the Yankee swap. Where you're like, do you want to keep this prize or do you want to take the veto? And people will be like, do not take my money or my vacation. Don't take it. But this time they can't fight back. So, pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think, most of night 1 on the episode. Though we do get a couple convos with people discussing, alliances, kind of dabbling a little targets in here or there. And by some people, I mean Jimmy. Jimmy is sitting like, hey, listen. We gotta get Rachel Riley out of here. She's Rachel fucking Riley. Are you kidding me? And everyone's like, are you sure you want to get rid of Rachel? Morgan is like, I want to learn from Rachel. I don't want to get her out. She's a legend. We can learn a lot from her. You get it. Also, I'm totally biased because I love Rachel and I want her to stay for a very long time. But yeah, Jimmy is definitely not Team Rachel. But that's fine. It's Big Brother. We gotta have a little adversary now and then. And we, again, do not want Paul BB19 2.0. No, thank you. I'm fine with Rachel having a little bit of opposition. Now, speaking of Jimmy and his opposition of Rachel, he is starting to bond a little bit with some people. Starting to feel it out. Still night 1, everybody's getting to know each other. He's in the bathroom with Mickey and Morgan, and they're really feeling each other. They're connecting. They're like, we click really well. We get an alliance. The triple threats. Which is very funny because, Jimmy's a triplet. Probably kind of playing that. Also kind of a play. Yeah, 3 of them. That's probably more what it is, not the triple thing, but I just think it's funny. So they're kind of like locking it in. You're like, we're good. We got each other. I got your back, you got mine. Great. It's funny. All the 2 alliances that I heard in the episode were all like mostly formed in the bathroom. Because also in the bathroom, separate time, Rachel and Amy were kind of like, I'm really like, we got a lot going on. We're very similar. The 2 47-year-old moms of the house. A lot of bonding. A lot of very similarities there, which makes sense because unbeknownst to Rachel, Amy's the accomplice whose slot she would have been taking. So obviously they're very similar. She was kind of like going to be her replacement. But Rachel does not know that. So they make their own little mom squad, which I think is really cute. Very reminiscent of Big Brother 15 with Rachel's sister Alyssa, who also formed the mom squad with Helen. So, the Riley sisters mom squad. Kind of love that. Fun little thing. Also very coincidental, but really cool. So yeah, that is kind of the more chill aspects of the night. Here comes Vince again from the diary room. Who wants to see my HOH room? So we go upstairs. They're like, wow, it's great. It's, it's like bright red. Probably similar to my hair, honestly. Of the walls. It has a secret bathroom, like revolving door. They're like, wow. Jimmy says the infamous words of the night. Guys, feel free to use my bathroom whenever. Use my shower whenever. Everyone's like, oh, that's so nice, Vince. Wow, thanks so much. So they're winding down for the night. They've had a very long day. Joining the Big Brother house, getting all this shit thrown at them. Diary rooms, all this. And she's like, hey, Vince. Do you mind if can I use your shower? And Vince is like, yeah, Ashley, go right ahead, use my shower. And we get the house guests downstairs. They're getting ready for bed. They're kind of laying around in the middle bedroom. And they're like, hey, where's Ashley? And they're like, she's upstairs, showering. And they're like, still? Now, mind you, this is an edited episode of Big Brother. And if you know Big Brother, you know CBS loves to put their own little take on things. So this is all kind of alleged. Because at this point we did not have the feeds. So we don't know the actual duration. I believe even to this day, it's Tuesday I'm filming this, I believe they're still kind of like, not exactly accurate to how it was on this episode and the time when obviously this was happening in the house. Ashley has been in the shower, according to them, about 90 minutes. Ashley has been in Vince's shower for 90 minutes. Vince is sitting in bed like this. He's in the diary room like, I really want to shower and go to bed. I'm tired. And Ashley is in the shower. And they're like, I can't believe she is still in that shower. Catherine's in the diary room like, that's crazy. I can't believe she's in the shower that long. Vince is trying to sleep. It's kind of like rude. I can't believe it. She finally gets out, comes downstairs, cutting through the middle room to get to the back room. She comes around this corner and goes, guys, I just had the best shower ever. And they're like, oh, I bet. I bet you did. And it's so funny because she's like, she has no idea. They've been like gossiping, like, what the hell is this long ass shower she's taking? Night one, Vince is there, and then Catherine asks, hey, did Vince shower before you? And she's like, what? And Catherine's like, did he shower before you did, or did you shower first? And she's like, oh no, I shower first. And everybody's like, what? They're so shocked. They're like, poor Vince just wants to shower and go to bed. And Ashley's in there. Who knows what she's doing? Running up CBS's water bill, which honestly, I also would do that. Not 90 minutes. I don't think I could take a 90-minute shower, but I'm not paying their water bill. They're not taking it for my $750,000 check. No, thank you. But probably shouldn't do that night one before the very first HOH even uses it. Also, especially not night one, because not even week one, because week one of Big Brother, even like the first couple weeks, are so volatile. You do anything even slightly annoying, and that will be a reason to put you on the block. People are going off of nothing at the beginning. So they will put people on the block for literally no reason. You could do anything. Last season, Lisa, for example, on the block week 1 and week 2. Went out week 2 because people are like, she's annoying. I can't live with her. She's putting glitter in our foods. She's pissing me off. So they got rid of her. If you have to be the first 2 weeks of Big Brother, like the picture perfect roommate. I almost said pitch perfect. You can't be pitch perfect. Don't do that. CBS gonna whoop your ass for saying it on the feeds. Don't do that. Picture perfect roommate. You have to be so considerate, so thoughtful. Be like, oh, what can I do to help you? I'll make some dinner. I'll do this. I'm gonna clean this. Don't piss anybody off for something stupid, because you will go on the block so fast. And that is unfortunately what's starting to happen to Ashley at this point. People are kind of like, Ashley, what the hell? And Amy is like, what the hell? Why is everybody talking about Ashley like this? So she goes to Ashley like, hey, I'm gonna let you know right now. You may not realize this, but your long shower is kind of a big deal. People are making it out to be a pretty big deal right now. So you might need to go talk to some people. And Ashley's like, what? Ashley had no idea that this was such a big deal. She's like, I took a shower. I don't understand. Now, the correct thing to do is to go to Vince and be like, hey, this is what's happening. I apologize if I upset you, if I was I overstepped, I took too long. That's definitely the person you need to go to first, because that would be the person most affected by the shower, I guess, since you're picking his HOH space. No. Why would we go there? She goes to Catherine. And she's like, are you upset? Are you mad I took a shower? She doesn't phrase it exactly like that. I don't remember her exact wording. Mind you, this was Sunday night. But pretty much, Ashley is kind of like, I don't see why this is a big deal. But I'm asking you because you made the comment, like, did Vince shower after me? Or before me? And Catherine's like, I don't care. It was a shower. Why would I care? I am just kind of confused why Ashley went to Catherine with this. I think because, like she said, that comment she made in front of everybody about if Vince had showered first, I think definitely the move was to go to Vince and kind of square it with him. That way, as we will see later in the episode, when he starts having his one-on-ones with people and everybody, multiple people are saying to him, I don't know, I'm not thinking of anybody, but, Ashley, that shower was crazy. If she had talked to him first, he would have been like, oh no, we cleared it up. We're good. Water under the bridge. Everyone would be like, oh, okay. But she doesn't. She talks to Catherine about it. And I get she heard Catherine make that comment and she's probably thinking that's where it's coming from, but it was kind of everybody downstairs. Even the next day, Kelly is telling people at, like, the hammock, like, guys, Ashley took a 2-hour shower last night, and they're floored. So I really think she should have gone to Vince and kind of just, like, nipped it in the bud right there, and it would have been a lot better for her. It would have been a lot more chill. If any concerns could have been, like, water under the bridge, nobody would have had to worry about it, because if Vince isn't worried, why should they be worried? But we get Showergate instead. These house guests are so interesting. And it's very funny watching this episode when everybody, including myself, most people had Ashley pretty high on their winner list. Ashley was my winner pick. And watching this go down, I'm like, please don't tell me that I am gonna lose Ashley because she took too long of a shower. She took a shower and I'm sweating. I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, have mercy. What do you mean? What do you mean? My night went big, no. But it's fine. She's working on it. She's trying to talk to Vince about it. But Vince is having his other one-on-ones. And Ashley, here she comes. Hey, Vince. Really want to talk to you. I kind of want to go to bed soon. Can I talk to you? And he's like, oh, yeah, I got a couple rounds to go. He talked to 4 more people who are also all saying Ashley's name to him pretty much. And she keeps coming in. Hey, me next? He's like, we got a line. She keeps coming in. Now, again, this is CBS editing. We don't know how long of time this is over. So we don't know, if she's cutting in every half hour, every 5 minutes. It could have been once an hour. We don't know. But kind of the height of it is when he's talking to Catherine, and she comes in 2 separate times, like, hey, can I talk to you? I am really tired and I don't want to wait anymore. And now Vince is like, whoa. She's acting really paranoid right now. Mind you, everybody he's talking to is saying her name. Obviously, she's going to be paranoid if those people are running her name to the HOH because she took a long shower. I also would be like, hey, can we talk before I get sent home for a fucking shower? Please? So I don't really understand why he's, like, so confused why she wants to talk to him so urgently. And, like, why is she acting so paranoid? She should be paranoid. She has a reason to be paranoid. So many people are saying her name, and she knows that because Amy told her people are floating your name. And I believe also Zach as well. Yeah, Zach was mentioned as well. Like, people are floating your name. You should go talk to Vince. She's like, oh my god, I cannot go home for this. Now, Vince is also in his one-on-ones making some connections as well. Mainly, I would say Kelly. He's getting pretty tight. He's pretty tight with Kelly. He's like, Kelly's kind of Vince like, you're kind of my number one right now. I'm really feeling you. Final two. Let's make a final two. And Kelly. Oh, Kelly. Oh, Kelly. And I don't want to say right now what's going on with the feeds with Kelly. She drives me kind of nuts. But on the episode, she's also driving me nuts. Because she's like, Vince, you know what we should do? I have a great idea. I have an idea. Great plan. Vince is like, okay, yeah, what's the plan? She's like, I don't want people to know that we're working together. So how can we throw everybody off? You put me on the block. What? Vince is like, I'm sorry. You want to run that by me again? Kelly wants to go on the block so that people don't think her and Vince are working together. Mind you, this is also Kelly who said in pre-season that she only wanted to watch 1 or 2 seasons of the show because she wanted to go in with a fresh perspective. And I know Kelly has watched BB26 because she has mentioned Tucker multiple times in the feeds. So you should know the amount of times last season that somebody volunteered to go on the block or was put on the block by one of their allies and went out the door. So many times. It's crazy. Cedric out on Quinn's HOH. Tucker out on T-Core's HOH. Fucking Joseph out on Quinn's HOH. Like, it's... I think that's, like, the rule of Big Brother. If you're gonna know any rule of Big Brother, is that pawns go home. I know she wasn't really... She's kind of was acting like a pawn, kind of not, because she wasn't saying, put me on the block so whatever the person can go home. She just wanted to go on the block and throw people off the scent, which I don't think doesn't also make sense either. But don't ever go on the block willingly. The odds of you going home are so high. I know this season and BB26 as well, the odds may be a little more in your favor because there's 3 nominees. There's an extra chance to save yourself with the BB Blockbuster / AI Arena. But the risk is so high. Do not ever put yourself on the block willingly. Don't agree to be a pawn. Don't volunteer. Definitely do not volunteer. If you volunteer to go on the block, I'm looking at you crazy. You're out of your mind. And thankfully Vince is like, I don't know about that one. Which, thank God. At this point, thank God. He's like, I don't think so. I don't know. Kelly, we'll think about it. So I'm like, oh, Jesus, please don't do that. That's so stupid. We get to the nomination ceremony. And I'm like, here we go. What's he gonna do? Because he was getting a couple names. A lot of the names being pushed to him, though, were Ashley. So the other 2 noms were kind of up in the air. I know there was some chatter here and there about Isaiah, about Amy. Kind of people just aren't really, clicking with them. People were still sauced about Isaiah being the accomplice, especially now that Riley wasn't. Because when Riley was revealed as being not the accomplice, people were like, okay, Isaiah, confess. Are you the accomplice? And he said no. And they were like, what? But then there's still Kelly. Kelly's putting me on the block. We on the block. No. Vince goes through with the nomination ceremony, and we get our first batch of nominees for the season. Isaiah, Amy, and Ashley. Isaiah, he's kind of going off, the accomplice vote. He's kind of, the bigger dude. And there's not much to go off of week 1. Similar reasons with Amy. Not really much to go off with Amy. Ashley, he just tells her straight up, you're kind of acting paranoid. And I'm like, Sir, everybody is running her name. Obviously, she's paranoid. Half the house is like, put her up to take a shower. I also would not be very happy and be a little nervous and need to talk to the HOH about that. But he puts her up, and she's not happy. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" She's like, "I'm gonna win this veto, and I'm coming after Vince. Are you kidding me? A shower? Put me here." And that's kind of where our episode ends. We didn't have as much this episode since, in the premiere, we kind of got we usually get, especially with the AI arena, we've been getting the HOH competitions more on Sundays instead of Thursdays now. So that usually is part of it. We're getting our, HOH comp with the noms this day. But there's a lot of still getting to know each other. We're playing best friends. Oh, almost forgot to mention as well. Another reason why Ashley is pissed. Vince. Vince, week 1, and he's already fucking things up, in my opinion. Because before the HOH competition, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. This is such an important thing. Jimmy had chosen himself, Vince, Adrian, and Ashley to compete in that HOH competition, the 4 of them. Before the comp, the 4 of them had gathered and said, "Listen, let's make a deal right now. No matter which one of us wins, we are not going to put the other of us up." So Vince, seeing as he won, his deal is, I'm not going to put Jimmy, Adrian, Ashley up. But clearly, Ashley's on the block. So he has not only pissed her off for putting her up because of the shower, he has now pissed her off because he broke the deal they made. The night 1 deal. And this is like day 2, day 3. So he's already proved to her that his word doesn't mean anything. Because he's already thrown their deal into the dirt. So now she has pretty much no reason to trust him anymore. Which, doing that so early is just so... I don't know what Vince was thinking. He really, in my opinion, let the pressure of the house get to him. I know especially early on, when it's kind of like a house consensus of a target, you kind of just want to put that person up for the sake of, making things easier on yourself and kind of getting as little blood in your hand as possible. But you can't try to make yourself appeasing to the house. You can't appease the house every time. Especially, I think week 1 is so critical to setting the foundation for your game, and I really don't think he did himself any favors. I don't know how Jimmy and Adrian feel about Ashley being on the block. I don't recall if they showed their one-on-ones on the episode. But now they know as well that he broke the deal that the 4 of them had made by putting Ashley on the block. So I don't know how much they're going to be kind of feeling about him as well with that. If they're going to be in the back of their mind like, yeah, he broke that deal. His word, I don't know. I don't know how many other people in the house are aware as well about that deal with the 4 of them. But I don't think that was kind of the right move. I really think if he had just kind of talked it out. I'm sure they were saying other names. Hell, he could have put Riley up. 11 of them voted for Riley to be the accomplice. Clearly, a lot of people were kind of sus of Riley. They weren't really feeling him. That could have been an easy nominee. Like, people that you were the accomplice. People really were kind of weirded out. Easy. But, breaking a deal that early on just doesn't really do anything good. And you're kind of, especially the way he's been going with the feeds, I don't know, he doesn't really, I would say, stand his ground. I think he really should, I don't know, because I don't even have the words to describe this, how he is. He just doesn't, it's like he doesn't want to be HOH, but he's HOH. I don't know what he wanted to play. And it's so crazy because episode 1, he was shocked that people did not want to play in the HOH. He wanted to play, but I don't think he wanted to win. I don't think he has the power, but I don't know if he wants it, because he just kind of is doing whatever the house is saying. I don't really like that with HOHs when they kind of just follow what the house wants. I think it's your HOH, do whatever the hell you want, what's best for your game, not what's best for the other 12 people, 15, 13, whatever, how many people are left in your house at that point. Because you can't all win money together. You're trying to win the money. So you need to do what's best for your game. And breaking that deal with Ashley, I don't know if that really was for the best, especially over a shower, which, spoilers for the fucking feeds. At this point, they have kind of deduced by actually talking to Vince about it that Ashley was only probably in the shower for like 15 minutes. And then was talking with him for the remainder of that hour and a half or so. So she wasn't even in the shower that long. So she's on the block for no reason because people were like, she's so rude and inconsiderate for taking a 2-hour shower. She didn't take a 2-hour shower. She took a 15-minute one. I don't know. I don't really have words for that. I don't think that was the best move. I definitely probably would have gone Riley. Since he already had this us. Alright, fuck it. Zach. Zach's an easy one. He won $10,000. Like, fuck it. He already won money. Put him up. That's an easy one to put up. And you have no deal with Zach. He didn't play for HOH. And he won 10 grand. And he is like a decent target. He seems pretty athletic. You know, the handsome straight guy. He's like, Matt 2.0. He could have been a good target to put up as well. Over Ashley. But we go with Showergate. Even though he knows how long she was in that shower. Which is crazy. That he knew how long she was in there. He knew it wasn't a 2-hour shower. Oh my god. Madness. Madness. These people are wild. But that's okay. That's kind of where we end episode 2. Amy, Ashley, and Isaiah on the block. With our veto coming up this Wednesday. And soon, our live vote and eviction. First of the season. Woo! But yeah. So these people are crazy. They're nuts. I don't want to say too much about the feeds because I was able to watch a lot of the day 1 feeds because I was home. I was not at work. But obviously, I do have a job, unfortunately, I have to go to. So I didn't watch a ton of feeds today. I've caught bits and pieces. I've been kind of trying to catch up. If you know, you know. If you are trying to catch up on feeds, you know what place to go. RGP. Taryn and his live feed updates. That man's crazy. I don't know how he does those things. Especially because there's no rewind feature anymore. So you can't go back like you used to be able to. You can just go back to whenever the hell. Now, they're like, die. You don't get it anymore. Thanks, Luke. You say one slur, now you ruin everything for everybody. But yeah, a lot to catch up on with the live feeds, so I definitely would recommend checking them out. You think I was saying anything about the feeds, but I could. But we'll save that for the end of this week. When we get our episode 3 and 4 with the veto ceremony, the veto comp, and our first live vote and eviction, our first BB blockbuster, and depending, probably not the age competition. I doubt they're going to do it. They're going to do the BB blockbuster. They're probably just going to save that for Sunday night again, like they did last year. We did not really get any live HOHs anymore, thanks to the BB blockbuster. But that's okay. At least we're getting something. I would prefer the comps, but it's fine. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I am curious to see how this week affects Vince in the upcoming weeks. He hasn't really set himself up too much. Like, I think a lot of people get nervous about the first HOH, especially seeing, how the past few have gone. I wish he would set himself up better and not consider putting his own allies on the block and people he make deals with on the block, but he's not Big Brother, not me. Not that I applied. But it's fine. His funeral, not mine. He'll figure it out. Maybe. Well, we'll see on Wednesday how that works out for him. Because it's not looking too good, y'all. It is not looking too good. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I really gotta go because it's getting a little late. So, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If you want to discuss the feeds in the comments, go nuts. Tell me what you think about his nominations. I think they're interesting. I'm kind of glad he put up Zay. Zay's a pretty good target as well. You know, he's kind of a big dude. You can be like, he's strong. He can win comps. Get him out of here. But yeah, let me know what you think about Vince's HOH reign so far. His nominations. Hell, tell me what you think about the post fetal work. Tell me what you think about the live feeds. Are you mad about the fucking getting rid of the flashback feature? Because I am. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. Thanks for watching. And I will see you, I'm going to say Saturday, to talk about Wednesday and Thursday night's episodes. Alright, that's all for now. So, goodbye. Have fun. Do not go outside. Enjoy your day indoors. Bye.